Hi, my name's Steve Wakefield and welcome to coachingforbusinesses.com. We're looking at goals and goal setting. It's something that's been done for many years. In the 1980s, I remember the dear old Filofax and how that came about. And really that was an extension of to-do lists, which people have been following at that point. But it was felt that to-do lists didn't actually have the priorities, so in order to be able to set goals, the best thing to do would be to, in a paper-based system, start to allocate times when you could actually work on things and prioritize them. So A, B and C lists, throw the C lists away, maybe and the B lists, and then focus on the A lists. Break those down into tasks. And really that was probably the third generation after to-do list diary systems, and then the Filofax systems, or I'm sure other systems were available. But things have really grown since then, and we've got a lot busier, and with emails and the internet that's come in, it's something that people still want to do, and people do. In fact, many people still work from their dear old to-do list. But goal setting is very important. If there's one thing that I would advise people to do, it really is to look at how they're setting their goals at the moment and how they're measuring how well they're doing with their goals. People who overachieve tend to have written down goals. It's all very well and good having goals that you know what you're doing, but how many people want to keep fit? They know how to keep fit, but do they do it? Those people that write down their goals, write down a plan of activities, are 80% more likely to achieve what they want to achieve than if they didn't write their goals down. So it just makes sense. But only about 1% of people actually do that. So again, if I can recommend anything in this entire website, it really is look at that. Goals are very important, and it's where leadership and management comes together. Leadership inspiring people, motivating people towards their goals, and management having a process in place to be able to say, well, okay, this is what we want to achieve. Now, how are we going to get there? So as you can see, it really, from a management point of view and a leadership point of view, it really does help you with your teams and indeed with yourself. So why do people drift away from goal setting? Because that tends to be what happens. I think there are a number of reasons for that. One of the main reasons people drift away from goal setting is we have this idea of once a year setting up an annual plan. So we start as we've been rushed all in December, we start kind of the first or second week in January, and by the end of January we have a plan into place as what we're going to do that year. Then what we do is we break that down into portions all the way through, either by quarter, then from the quarter into the month, and from the month into the week. Then we look at our daily activities. The big issue with that is that for the third and fourth quarter, you're basing everything on assumptions that things have been done in the first, second quarter. So it's assumptions on assumptions. And being human, what tends to happen if we fall back a little bit in the first 2 or 3 weeks, or 2 or 3 months even, we tend to think, oh, we can catch up later in the year. It's not a big deal. And of course, as we get towards the end of the year, we have to focus more and more attention and the way we get going, and we may well achieve the goals at the end of the year, but boy, we really have to push hard towards the end, because of the deadlines have been set and the goals look like being missed, but we finally hit them. So the key is really is to have an objective for the end of the year, but set goals and a shorter time frame. I recommend people look at a 100-day plan, which is 14 weeks and 2 days. 2 days to celebrate at the end, or to breathe in ready for the next 100-day plan. In a 100-day plan, what we can do is all the goals that we set in a 100-day plan are, again, standalone. They can stand on their own. At the end of it, when we achieve them, we can celebrate. They may, you may look towards an objective of 12 months, but still, those goals are to be made in that 14-week period, 100-day period. And what I've found is, because we have such a short deadline, 14 weeks passes by so quickly, people tend to focus a lot more on how to achieve that goal, because the deadline builds up very quickly. You can't afford to have more than a couple of weeks where you're not performing tasks that will make you get you towards your goal. So the tasks are the things that are important. And what's the key document in all this, and you'll find this in the website, is your weekly plan. A lot of people today plan by the day, even by the hour, some by the minute. But what you'll find is, in this, is that once you have your 100-day plan, your 14 weeks, you break your goal down into 14 chunks, as it were, in order to be able to meet it. You then break the weeks, they'll have the main tasks, and each day you review your weekly plan and look at your daily activity that you're going to have to do today in order to be able to achieve everything you said you would do in that week. I find by breaking things down by the week, it is far better. You're far more productive. If something happens during that day that means you can't achieve one of them, then okay, prioritize it for tomorrow. Equally, if you find you have time for that day, then bring something forward from the previous day, from the list that you for the week. It makes a lot of sense. So that's one of the main reasons, and that's why I suggest a 100-day plan. Wherever I've introduced it, people are far more productive than they've ever been, and they get a lot more done than they would ever believe that they could get done. Another reason why the things start to fall down is that word procrastination. And of course, the 100-day plan helps prevent procrastination. Procrastination, thief of time. What we can do as we're going through the 100-day plan is people will rather focus on the tasks that need to be done towards their goal than going to the non-urgent tasks, because as it was said in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, people look at the important and urgent things, and they must do those because they're important and urgent. People will do urgent things that aren't important, and the reason why they're urgent is because generally somebody else has asked you to do them. They're not specific for your goals, what you want to achieve, but they're important to somebody else, but they're urgent to you because you've been asked to do them. People will also, when they're looking to rest, they'll then drift off into the things that aren't important and aren't urgent, as in answering emails, researching things on the web that really are not to do with their job or their goals, just to breathe in. The big quadrant in this four quadrants is the second quadrant that Stephen Covey speaks about, and that is the things that are important but not urgent. And that's where all your strategy is. That is where all your planning is. That is where it's all your time with people and working with people. That it's important, but it's not urgent. And really, that's the quadrant that you should be spending quite some time in. So it's worth looking in your 100-day plan towards your goals, looking at how you can spend more time in that quadrant, working with people. If you want to get fit, for example, fitness and going to a gym, going for walks. Again, that is important to you, but it's not urgent. But it is something that is vital because it'll affect things later down the line. So really, goals, as I say, are important. So another thing that you've got to do with goals, and it's called SMART goals, and that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Goals really need to be specific, because if they're, I'm going to lose weight, or we're going to get a project done by November. Well, I've got time bound, but what part of the project? What is the project? What can you measure in that project? So if it's specific and therefore we can measure it, we know as we're going through the 100 days how close we are to completing and achieving our goal. So is it achievable? Well, if it's too easy, then you'll drift through it, and it won't stretch you, and it's something that you need to look at, because some people will make things that are easily achievable, not stretching them, and you really need to stretch yourself and people in order to be able to grow as a person. Is it relevant? So is the goal relevant to your goals, your team's goals, or your company's goals? If it's not, should you actually be doing it? And finally, time bound. I'd say a maximum of 100 days. If you can do 50 days or goals, then mix them in. So make them smart, and again you'll see something on the website that I've written, and in my book, So You Want to Be a Leader. It documents it fairly well as all that. Another reason why people tend to drift away from goals, and this is vital, this word commitment. A lot of people will tell you they are committed to their goal, but that's a word. What do they mean by commitment? I'll tell you what I mean by commitment. Commitment is, I will do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, this goal will be achieved. We will write the tasks down, we will do the tasks. If it takes extra time, extra resources, if I've got to be creative in doing something, it will be done. And that's what commitment means. I mean, the old adage is, having breakfast. The hen provides the egg and the pig provides the bacon. I mean, the hen is interested in putting things on the plate, of course, but the pig providing the bacon, no. The pig's committed. And that's what commitment means. You really, really have to mean and focus on what you're doing. And your team does as well. Your team needs to focus. Your team needs to be aware that this goal has to be achieved. We'll do whatever it takes. So if you can do that, if you can look at your goal, that's something I didn't mention right at the beginning, but if you want to really, really get to the nub of your goal, some people will do this and some people won't, but you'll find a lot of people who are successful visualize. And what they will do is they'll close their eyes and they'll actually visualize what they want to achieve. If it's with a team, visualize the success at the end and how you'll feel. If you're in sales, how are you going to spend all that commission? How are you going to feel the recognition? Because it's been shown that recognition is one of the key driving factors when people achieve things, what they want to do, what makes them achieve things. It's having the recognition of that achievement within their peers and their peer group, within their managers and directors. So that's really, really important to people. So really, that's what I want to leave you with. If goal setting, very important. Please use the documents on this page on the website. Be specific with your goals. Break them down into 100-day periods or 14 weeks. Make them standalone. Fully commit to your goals, and then really, really celebrate when you get those goals. So if you'd like any more information, please, all the information is here on the website, or why not email me on steve.wakefield@coachingforbusinesses.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much. Bye.